Hello, everybody. Boxing Bros UK here. My name's Chris. It's Chris. It's my co-host Andrew, the Boxing Brain. And
Hi, Chris.
today we're doing a post-fight review of Ortiz versus Bohachuk, or whatever it's called. The Ukrainian. Sorry about
Bohachuk. Yeah.
Sorry if I butchered your name, pal. Sorry, mate. Right. First of all, it was a brilliant fight. How did you score the fight, Andrew?
So I had it what the first judge had it, and I had it 113, a draw. I thought the last 3 or 4 rounds were Ortiz sort of turned it up a little bit, and I sort of thought he won most. I mean, again, they could have gone either way. The middle rounds were a little bit touch and go. I thought it was a draw, and I thought it was the kind of fight, if you look at the fight as a whole, it was the kind of fight where you kind of felt like I did anyway, that Bohachuk deserved the draw to have that rematch. I think he deserves a rematch anyway. But yeah, what did you have it as, Chris?
Exactly the same. 113, 113. Like, I thought Ortiz had it. Like you say, I thought he had a clean sweep. I thought he won the last 4 rounds, and he made the adjustments, like changed his style up, made the adjustments. But when I added up my scorecard, that's what it came back: 113, 113. It was it's a very, 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 very close fight, a really, really good fight. And I do think that Bohachuk deserves the rematch. 100% he deserves that rematch. No shadow of a doubt. But so let's get into it. So the beginning of the fight, what went wrong? What was Ortiz doing wrong? Oh, the sound's gone. One sec. Beginning of the fight.
Yeah. So
what's your assessment?
So obviously there was the kind of flash knockdown in the first round, wasn't it? And in both the knockdowns, Ortiz, he was having none of it. He was almost petulant, wasn't he? Running back to his corner. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. But especially, I think we did. There was I've seen people sort of saying, "Oh, has he been exposed?" All the rest of it. But when you've come off of 21 fights and 21 knockouts, then you're in against someone, especially these Ukrainians. They always seem to be game, and I think they've got an extra 5-10% with what's going on with their country at the moment, and the fighters seem to have that extra impetus. And I think maybe it was just the case early rounds, Chris, of just a bit of overconfidence. His last 2 fights, I don't know if you saw this. He sparked out Delorme. Sorry if I've got this wrong. Delorme and Lawson in the first round. Which is interesting preparation for a fight with Bohachuk. So God, these boxers' names are so difficult. And he's come up against someone who's very durable, very game. Good punch output. And I don't know whether he's just come in there, maybe a little bit complacent early on, because the back end of the fight, as you said earlier in pre-recording, that he then adjusted his style. I thought Ortiz went to the body very well as he got into his flow. I just think he came out just a bit reckless and a little bit overconfident, perhaps.
Yeah, for sure. Like the flash knockdown, I think what threw him off as well is it was ruled no knockdown, and then they did that action replay shit what they do in football now, when they reviewed it. I thought it was bollocks. He hit him, he went down. It was a knockdown. So rightfully so, he got the knockdown. But he was doing what he normally does, Ortiz, which is traditional Mexican style, hands up, walk you down, bang to the body, bang to the body, bang to the head, trying to steamroll him. To be fair to Ortiz, he showed a lot of hope in this fight, because when you're steamrolling everybody, and you come up against a guy, you try it on him, and he's standing there. He ain't going down. He ain't going nowhere. He's giving it you back just as good as you're fucking giving it him. It's a big thing to think, because then you're thinking, shit, this guy's taking my best shots and he's firing back and he's still here.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do now? So he showed me, he made a fan of me there. Like, showed me, like, he's got some heart and some balls, you know? And then he came into it. And then I think, like, what's his face? Bohachuk started coming into his own. He started to realise, right, he was hooking up very well, but he's a big man. So he was getting caught. And then when he started using his long jab, he started peppering Ortiz with that long jab. And Ortiz was trying to walk him down, and he was starting losing rounds. Then there was the other knockdown in round 8, which is another flash knockdown.
Yes.
I do think that was a bit of a slip, but it's not a bit of a slip. It's bad technique on Ortiz's fault. He threw everything into his hook, and he missed. So that guy hit him, and he went for a counter hook, missed, fell over. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of them. You can't load up like that with everything unless you're sure, because the punch that Bohachuk landed didn't really hurt him, but because his counter shot missed, he fell over because he threw everything into it, feet off the floor, slipped.
Yeah, I think this was probably exactly the fight Vergil Ortiz Jr. needed, didn't he? You know, he's had 21 fights before. This, especially after the last 2 fights as well, where he just rolled them over in the first round. Which for your 19th and 20th fight, you'd expect a bit more, wouldn't you? And I think this is exactly what he needed. I mean, a lot of people are sort of saying robbery. I don't really see that. I mean, I can see we've scored it a draw. I can see people. The other 2 judges had it 114, 112. You know, it was a close fight, even with the 10-8, because a lot of Bohachuk's shots were hitting the arms of Ortiz and were hitting his guard. You know, I think the cleaner work. You know, Ortiz managed to get his jab going a little bit. He was a little bit reckless at times, like you say, that second knockdown, you know, falling over his front foot a little bit. His footwork was a little bit kind of all over the shot. But he'll learn a lot from that fight. I'm sure he will. You know, he must do. So, you know, it's kind of one of them. He needed it. He needed that fight, didn't he?
He needed this fight. But the best thing that I can say about Ortiz, after that knockdown in round 8, what I loved, what he did in round 9 is he bit down on his gum shield and he fucking went after him. And he went after him and he took that round by force. He took that round by force. And then round 10, 11, 12, what did he do? He made the adjustment. Instead of Mexican style, left hand low, right hand by the chin, in and out, light on your feet, don't load up, just landing shots. And when you've got your left hand low, you can throw the jab from different angles. It doesn't. You can get more scoring shots. It doesn't set up like good power punches, apart from maybe the uppercut because of the distraction. But he made that adjustment, line his feet, left hand low, throwing a jab from different angles, scoring, landing combinations. I thought, you know, I'm gonna win these rounds by being slick, doing some slick boxing and fighting that style, pull counters and all that. And he won them last 3 rounds for me. So he after the knockdown, bit down on his gum shield, won that round, and then made the adjustment, changed his style. I wish he would have made this adjustment a little bit earlier, and he would have won the fight. But like you say, this is a learning fight. It's what he needed to get better because he wasn't getting it from the fights that he was having previously.
No, especially the last 2. But have we got the scorecards, Chris, to get up?
So
when we're
just
chuck it up, just
the scorecard and see like what the hell went on there. 112.
So I don't know how well people consider, but if some of the key elements were kind of the mid rounds, because it was a little bit. Those were the ones that were more difficult to score because a couple of judges, I think it was in round 6, had it 10-9, 10-9 Ortiz Jr. One had it for Bohachuk. I think round 7, 10-9 Bohachuk. One had it, the other one had it 10-9 Ortiz, and then the other one had it the other way. From sort of round 6 to 9, well, not round 8, obviously, that was a knockdown. 6, 7, and 9 were a little bit kind of like judges sort of couldn't agree on it. And that's I think that's probably where the fight was won and lost, really, because those were the ones where if Bohachuk had nicked a couple of those rounds, he could have actually pulled off the victory. Another night, another fight, maybe in the rematch, you never know. Because he was well in that fight.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But see, like round 6, 7, I had Bohachuk winning them rounds, like, because he was landing, and then he was catching. He was using a long jab, and he was catching Ortiz with that jab. He was jabbing his head off, and then Ortiz was like, still doing this. Yeah, round 6 and 7, I think he was like really, he was really doing well.
So this is the weird thing, right? Me and you saw it how the first judge saw it, right? Because he had round 6 and 7, 10-9 for Bohachuk, right? And the second judge, I don't know what he was seeing in that round. He had it 10-9, both those rounds for Ortiz Jr. And the last judge had it round 6, 10-9 Ortiz Jr. And then the 7th round, 10-9 Bohachuk. So those middle rounds were a bit of a mess. But that's where fights are, this is where fights can be won and lost based on, I had the same as you and the same as the first judge. So I think you and the first judge are on point.
we should have judged the fight. It's just like, I just think there's a lot of positives. Ortiz, he showed he can bite down on his gun shield and get stuck in if he needs to. He showed
resilient.
He's resilient. He showed he's got more layers to his game. He's not just a come forward Mexican style. He showed he can be a slick boxer when he needs to. He can get his jab going at different speeds, different angles. So he showed a lot of positives, but obviously he needs to make adjustments sooner. But that's what it's learning. He's learning. He's only young, but I don't think he won the fight.
Yeah, I think the thing is, and it's like we do see this, don't we? Especially when they're being, Vergil Ortiz Jr. has obviously been billed, isn't he, as the next or one of the next big things in the super welterweight division. And I think sometimes it is, if for a fighter's career, they've got to kind of quickly realise that you can't be sparking everybody out all the time. You've come. I know people want to keep that. It must be nice that not everyone can be Artur Beterbiev, right, and have 100% KO ratio. Not everyone can be that guy, right?
In world title fights as well, mate.
Yeah, I mean, very, very few. The great Mike Tyson, Deontay Wilder, had a great. All right. To be fair, Wilder was knocking over binmen and tomato cans. To be fair, most of those, but but. I think this was a great learning because maybe I think he was a bit tempestuous and a little bit, like you said, trying to walk in there, just trying to, have that Mexican aggressive style that's great to watch. And they both brought it, but you're not just going to go in there and be able to blow absolutely everybody away. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly. You can't just load up on every shot. And that's another thing that he'll learn because he was gassing in that fight, but he managed to power through to pace himself because he was loading up on everything, trying to steamroll in. It didn't work, so he had to find his second wind.
Maybe what he needed to do, I know woe betide for us, but we're a channel that likes to maybe look at what the fighter could have done alternatively. Maybe with that bit of extra experience, he could have just softened him up a little bit the first few rounds, just get on that, because he's got a decent jab, he goes to the body well, and just kind of give him kind of different things to think about and just soften him up a little bit, and then maybe come out the 3rd, 4th, 5th round and then start absolutely laying into your shots and using that Mexican style that obviously is what he's kind of brought up on, and that's his style. But maybe moving forward, he can learn that sometimes you've got to soften these guys up a little bit. You've got to sort of take their stamina down a little bit, take them into the later rounds and show them different levels of power. Not every shot needs to be 100%, does it? Take a little bit off,
That's the
and
thing.
things like that.
Where he fucked himself up is that guy's like, yeah, I took all your best shots, and what? Do you know what I mean? So if he would have slick boxed him at the start, peppering him, and then hit him with the hard shots, they might have had a bit more of effect, you know?
Yeah, because fighters do talk about this. Fighters do talk about this. Is that you can get almost like, especially if you've got a good chin and you're durable anyway, you can get used to the power. It's almost like, okay, I can feel this. They're hard shots, but I can cope with it. Whereas if you're kind of varying up the shots, varying up the power, it can almost have a kind of it can have, I don't know what the word is, but it can have more of a desired effect. So let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's like when you're naughty, and if every time you do something wrong, your mum gives you a slap, you get used to it and you don't care about the slaps. But if she only gives you a slap when you're really naughty, right, I've been really bad now, so I've got a slap. Yeah. But if you always get slapped every time you're naughty, you get used to the slaps and you don't care.
Dad's coming with a slipper this time. Watch out. Christ. He's got the belt.
For Bohachuk, I'd say he gave a very, very good account of himself. He proved he's a tough man.
He did.
And he can hang it in there with the best 154. One thing I will say for him, he's a big man with a long reach. Use it. Fucking use it. He was using that long jab. He was winning rounds. He was using that long jab. When he went back to European style, using the long jab.
Round 4. Yeah, round 4. Oh,
and he caught him a few times with a straight right hand down the pipe. He caught him and he was setting that straight right hand up. He didn't always land it, but it was there, and it was hurting Ortiz. It was
straight shots.
Use your size. Fight like a big man. You're a big man. Like, obviously, if you need to tuck up and swing it out in the trenches, like he was doing, but don't do that all the time. Because he was tucking up very well for a big guy. His elbows.
Yeah.
That's a good thing in your arsenal, but don't use it unless you need to. You should have stuck to his long jab because he was winning when he was doing that.
They were in the pocket all night, weren't they? Like most of the night, just in the pocket together, just trading, weren't they?
I think on the press conference, obviously, maybe that Ukrainian, because he said, I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of your power. And then Ortiz was like, all right, meet me in the middle of the ring then, if you're not bothered. And I think maybe that's what he was doing.
Go. Fight your fight. We've said this before, haven't we?
Don't fight
your fight. Anderson did against Bacoli. He fought and played right into Bacoli's hands. So where do we? Obviously, unless there's any other little bits you wanted to chuck in there. I mean, where do we see other than a rematch? It's becoming a bit of a stacked division. This, like maybe I'll chuck a few names at you for Ortiz. If I do think Bohachuk deserves that rematch, but maybe if he gets the job done in more conclusive fashion. Where do a couple of interesting fights. I don't think Josh Kelly will be ready for it, but he's ranked number 10 in the WBC. That'll be quite an interesting transatlantic affair whenever he can get past Liam Smith. Errol Spence, who seems to be hiding in a cave the last 2 years, will he maybe come out for a bit of a dust up with Ortiz? Well, I don't know if he fancies it. I think
so.
You got Takeshi Inoue obviously in there now. Madrimov, probably not. Probably don't fancy that one. What do you think? What do you think would be next for?
Well,
they're talking about Crawford, aren't they? What's all that about?
God no. Well, this is what's going to happen next. Yeah, this is what I believe. So that was for the WBC interim title. So he's actually now mandatory for Hondora's belt. Fundora. So basically,
Fundora is the WBC. Fundora.
So he's mandatory. So this fight basically makes him mandatory for that belt. So I think, and they've got a fight coming up soon, them two guys, Fundora and someone else. So I think he's gonna go for the WBC title shot straight away, and he's got a good chance of winning. To be fair, really good chance of winning. And then that's what's next for him. I believe he's gonna go for the WBC title.
Good shout. good shout. I didn't even remember I had Fundora written down. Yeah, good shout. It's got to be. You know, he's obviously going down the WBC route first. That's what he's targeted. That, you know, he's going to want to still at 22 fights. I did feel like he was not exposed, Chris, but he needed that fight, and I think Fundora is a winnable fight for Ortiz, and it's the iconic green belt. So makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
makes sense.
Don't think that Fundora is going to do what Bohachuk did and fight like a big man, going to fight like a small man. I doubt he's going to do that. After watching this, if he does, then he's stupid, because that's not the way to beat Ortiz. He needs to use his size and use his reach.
Well, we all know, don't we? Like, we all love the kind of early fights because you get more of these dust-ups. But then when you get to sort of these championship fights, especially with the smaller guys, I tend to find they tend to then become a little bit more cagey, more tactical, more about the sweet science, don't they? Because they realise there's much more to lose. You know, absolutely. So that's normally kind of what you get. You know, we saw that with Crawford, didn't we? He was very cagey early on by his standards. Anyway, he likes to work the guy out, but he was so. But we'll see. Maybe he'll go in there and try. Maybe he'll go in there and try and steamroller him, Ortiz. But I don't know. Yeah.
So he's going to go for his shot. Very lucky, but he's had a good learning fight here, which will stand him in good stead for the title. But what about Bohachuk? I think Bohachuk, he's a good fight for any of them names that you mentioned before. Your Josh Kelly's, your Errol Spence's.
Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly, Errol Spence. Who else is your name?
Tazoo.
Any of them guys, if you want a stern test, and obviously after this fight, you should get a high ranking, really, even though he lost. Jump in with this guy if you really want to test yourself at 154 and see if you're ready for especially Errol Spence.
In and around the kind of top 10, I don't know what's going on with Errol Spence. You know, he's obviously he had that dispute with his trainer, didn't he, Derek James, and you know, and I don't know. He seems to have his soul taken by
Crawford.
Crawford, and I don't know if he's the same guy anymore. But it would be an interesting. I'd like to see him in the ring again if he still wants it, if the heart's still there. But maybe we won't see him in the ring again.
That Bohachuk, I think that'd be a really, really good fight. And because Errol Spence, he wanted to fight the winner of Fundora's next fight. I can't remember who he's fighting, but obviously you can't just hide away for nearly 2 years and then say you want to fight the winner of a world title champ. No way, he's got to fight. It's mandatory. Don't work like that. It's like
Pacquiao all over again.
Yeah. So that's it. So that's the state of the 154-pound division. Well done to Ortiz. You showed me a lot of good things. I'm happy with, and it's a good learning fight for you. But I do think if I was Ortiz, I'd run this fight back,
rematch,
just to beat this guy convincingly, and then fight him mandatory.
And make some adjustments. Make a few adjustments, and he'll probably win it. He'll probably win it by a wider margin if he just makes a couple of adjustments. I think.
Or if he does win the WBC title, give this guy his rematch as a voluntary. And
give him a shot. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's it from us. Boxing Bros UK. Peace out, everybody. Nice one. Like and sub.